I want to recognize and acknowledge that you have a responsibility to hire the least risky candidate for a youth ministry job. I completely understand this. You have to take seriously the generous tithes of your church members, the sacrificial givings of those who go to your ministry, and those have to be treated with respect. And so to choose a candidate who doesn't have a proven track record in a successful youth ministry is fairly labeled risky. What I would like to do is demonstrate that I'm not actually a risky candidate. I believe I'm uniquely positioned to excel in youth ministry in a church context. And I believe my experiences as a Bible teacher the past 5 years, they are actually transferable into the context of church ministry. Here are my 7 points. Point number 1. If you add up the amount of hours I've been teaching God's Word over the past 5 years, do the math, equal to about 15 years worth of youth ministry and preaching. Educators, unlike youth pastors, are held accountable for how much their students actually learn. And an educator knows the tricks of the trade to foster learning and higher level thinking skills. As far as creating successful programs go, I can definitely use my newspaper class as evidence of such. I had to create an extracurricular class, and it's optional for kids to take these things. Not only is it optional, but my class is a lot of hard work. Despite this, kids love it and we have a blast and get things done. Now in private schools we have to compete with other programs, and so if I don't create a program that the kids like, they're not going to join it. They don't want a part of it, especially if they don't think it's cool. But I've also really learned this process how to get kids to buy into something you create. And today it's a thriving part of our community, and the kids recruit their friends every year with a ton of enthusiasm. Another example of programming is my Iron Eagles initiative. It's an iron sharpens iron kind of motto where kids have opportunities to mentor one another and to get true accountability, so they actually have a holistic approach to growth, and not just these ups and downs with mission trips, but actually have the steady kind of fostering of spiritual formation in the school itself with their friends they have at the school. As a middle school Bible teacher, I work with parents a lot, and I really enjoy it. And I work with them not just to help their kids grow in their academics, but I work with parents to help them understand what their student needs to grow in their relationship with God. And I go on these missions trips and I work with volunteers, and I get a lot of opportunities to help prep them and to know what their role is on these trips, and know what the boundaries are for what we do and don't do with students, and help them understand why we do what we do on these missions trips, why we even go in the first place. And it's a lot of great times had by all. And I really enjoy co-leading these trips. I have a lot of fun with the students. I know marketing, and I help the school design the look and the feel for their major fundraisers. I also teach the principles of marketing to my journalism students. This is important because if you know marketing, you know how to get people interested and excited about what you're doing. When it comes to money, as a teacher, I've got to make my budget and the money that I get stretch. I've got to make every dollar count, and I have to manage my spending accordingly. A final point that I'd like to make is that many people don't realize at a small Christian school, not affiliated with a church, for a lot of kids, I am their youth pastor. And over the years, I've had countless opportunities getting to mentor kids, getting to counsel parents and their students, and not just in academics, but in all aspects of life, especially when it comes to areas of spiritual formation and spiritual growth. So while I cannot show you a fancy chart showing you the number of students I had in my youth ministry when I started and then when I ended, hopefully my experiences should testify that I can do precisely that. 5 years ago, my principal, she took a bit of a risk in hiring me as a teacher because I had no formal training in teaching whatsoever. But today, I have parents of elementary students who tell me they're so excited for their child to come into my middle school Bible classes because of things they've heard from other parents whose kids have gone through my classes. And so while it might sound kind of like bragging, I take it as validation for what I've been working so hard for in the past 5 years.